Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hollyoaks is set to expose Vicky Grant and Freddie Roscoe's big secret next week. Vicky is currently expecting Freddie's baby, however she is in a relationship with his brother Robbie, who believes he is the baby's father. To complicate matters further, at the end of last year, Freddie fell in love with Mercedes despite him still being married to Grace Black. The two had planned to run away together, but on Christmas Day Grace arranged for her brother Rex to shoot her and make it look like she was saving Freddie's life, making him think twice about leaving her. Now Freddie's web will become even more tangled when Vicky and Mercedes end up in hospital at the same time. Next week, Robbie will overhear Vicky and Freddie talking about the baby, leading Vicky to lie and say he found the scan. This excites Robbie, who feels that he can now celebrate his and Vicky's good news with his family. When Vicky and Freddie are alone, she warns him to keep the truth a secret, before Vicky and Robbie finally announce the pregnancy to their family at the dog. They later end up at the hospital though, where Freddie apologizes to Vicky for how he's been treating her, but unbeknownst to them, Mercedes, who is in hospital with an infection, has been listening in and now knows about their affair. She later discharges herself from hospital and heads home. Freddie arrives and tells her he wants them to spend the rest of their lives together. How will Mercedes react? The sun was setting over the village of Hollyoaks, casting a golden hue over the familiar brick houses and bustling streets. It was a deceptively tranquil evening, but inside the Cunninghams, or more specifically, in the hidden corners of secrets and whispers, a storm was brewing. Vicky Grant sat nervously in the Dog in the Pond's beer garden, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. Her foot tapped against the cobblestones, the anxiety pouring off her in waves. Across from her, Freddie Roscoe was equally on edge. His fingers drummed against the wooden table, his jaw clenched as he stared into the distance. "We can't keep this up, Freddie," Vicky said finally, her voice trembling. "It's only a matter of time before someone finds out." Freddie sighed and rubbed his face. "I know, but what are we supposed to do if this gets out?" He trailed off, leaving the unspoken consequences hanging in the air. "We should have never," Vicky started, but Freddie cut her off. "Don't say it," he warned, his voice low but firm. "What's done is done, now we just have to figure out how to deal with it." Unbeknownst to them, a pair of watchful eyes observed their exchange from the shadows. Lee Barnes, ever the inquisitive teenager, had been passing by when she spotted the duo. Something about their body language and hushed tones piqued her interest. She crouched behind a nearby hedge, her phone set to record. Inside the Dog, Diane Hutchinson was chatting with Tony and Darren. The pub was alive with chatter and laughter, but Diane's attention was drawn to Vicky's absence. "Have you seen Vicky?" she asked Tony. "She said she'd be back for dinner, but I haven't seen her." Tony shrugged. "She's probably just out with friends, you know how teenagers are." Diane frowned, but let it go. However, her motherly instincts told her something wasn't quite right. Back outside, Lee's recording captured snippets of Freddie and Vicky's conversation. Words like secret, can't tell anyone, and everything will fall apart, painted a picture of a situation much bigger than a minor misunderstanding. Lee's curiosity grew, and she decided to dig deeper. The next day, Lee confided in her best friend, Ella Richardson. "I swear Allah, they're hiding something huge," Lee said, showing her the video. Ella's eyes widened as she watched. "This is serious, but what do you think they're hiding?" "That's what we need to find out," Lee said, determination gleaming in her eyes. Meanwhile, Freddie and Vicky were feeling the pressure. Vicky's guilt was eating her alive, and Freddie was doing his best to keep her calm. But their secret was proving harder to keep than they'd anticipated. Every glance, every whisper, every unexpected knock on the door felt like a threat. Things came to a head during a family dinner at the Hutchinsons. Diane had finally convinced Vicky to join them, and Freddie was there as well, under the pretense of picking up some tools Tony had borrowed. The atmosphere was tense, with Vicky barely touching her food and Freddie avoiding eye contact. Diane, ever the observant matriarch, decided to address the elephant in the room. "Is everything okay with you two?" she asked, her tone gentle but probing. Freddie and Vicky exchanged a quick, panicked glance before Freddie forced a smile. Yeah, everything's fine, he said a little too quickly. You don't look fine, Diane pressed. If something's wrong, you can talk to us. It's nothing, Vicky mumbled, staring at her plate. But Diane wasn't convinced. And neither was Lee, who had been watching the scene unfold from the hallway, her phone once again in hand. Later that evening, Lee and Ella decided to confront Vicky directly. They found her sitting by the pond, her arms wrapped around her knees. Vicky, we know something's going on, Lee said, sitting down beside her. You can tell us, whatever it is, we won't judge. Vicky's eyes filled with tears, but she shook her head. You don't understand, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. If this gets out, it'll ruin everything. What will? Ella asked gently. Vicky hesitated, torn between the burden of her secret and the relief of unburdening herself. Finally, she broke. It's about Freddie, she said, her voice shaking. We did something we shouldn't have. Before she could say more, Freddie appeared, his face a mask of panic and anger. Vicky, stop, he said, his tone urgent. You don't know what you're doing. Lee stood up, her phone still recording. No, Freddie, she said. It's time someone found out the truth. Freddie's gaze shifted between Lee and Vicky, his mind racing. Fine, he said finally, his shoulders slumping. You want the truth, here it is. The revelation that followed shook Hollyoaks to its core. Freddie and Vicky had been involved in a scheme that could bring down more than just their reputations. They discovered something that tied them to a dangerous figure in the village. Their silence had been bought, but at a cost they were no longer willing to pay. As the truth spread through the village, alliances were tested, relationships strained, and secrets unearthed. Diane's disappointment in Vicky was palpable, but her protective instincts kicked in as she realized the danger they were in. By the end of the week, the village was buzzing with speculation and fear. Freddie and Vicky's secret had exposed more than they'd anticipated, pulling others into a web of lies and danger. And as the sun set once again over Hollyoaks, one thing was clear: life in the village would never be the same. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.